This episode brought to you by Oodle Noodle. Leaders of the taste, Oodle Noodle brings the flavor of 8 countries to the West, now with 17 locations, including Airdrie and soon to be a location in Calgary. Welcome into Battle of Alberta Banter Colorado Edition, Game 2 Edition. The Oilers lost 4-0 in Colorado in Game 2 and are now down 2-0 in the series. We've got Printzy, he's a Flames fan / Avs fan right now. We've got Wanye, he's an Oilers fan. And we've got me. I'm the impartial host. So how are we feeling after Game 2? The Oilers lose 4-0. That was kind of a shocking result given Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have scored an average of like 6 points per game in the playoffs. They were completely shut down. Should Oilers fans be worried?
I'll let the Oilers fans. I'll let the Carcass first. I'll let the Oilers. Okay. Thank you for letting me go first.
You're a good man.
Your kindness.
You're a good man.
I'm gonna say that they should be slightly worried, but at the end of the day, they're also heading back to Edmonton. A very good point made by Oilers Nation. Tyler Yaremchuk said you're not really in trouble until you give up home ice, which the Oilers have not given up yet. And the Avalanche are going to be heading into Edmonton, which is going to be ruthless. It's going to be loud. It's going to be like riot. It's going to be insane up in Edmonton. So should they be hitting the panic button today? No, I don't think so. No. If they lose game 3, then yeah, absolutely hit the panic button. But we talked about this before. I don't know if I can put my finger on if it was a bad game by the Oilers or a bad 2 minutes. I can't say that they came out and they were outstanding, but I'm not going to say that they were terrible either, because they definitely weren't.
Anytime you're letting in 3 consecutive shots, you're digging a grave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Digging a grave. The thing that disappointed me last night was, like they said, other than that, they weren't playing badly, but they could not seem to get the engine started this time to climb out of the hole. Every other time, they've had a 3-goal lead. They've come back from a 3-goal lead, I think 3 times so far in the playoffs.
At least. I feel like it happens like 2 or 3 times around. It happened against the Flames multiple times.
Was there a 4th time? Anyways, I mean, it's happened, right? It's not like you're showing some stat that says, like, when they all go down by 2 goals, they're fucked. Like, that stat doesn't exist. They come back from shit all the time. But this was the only time that they weren't able to get the machine restarted. Do I think Colorado can shut down Connor and Leon sustainably to 0 points a game? No. And when they do reactivate, by my math, they have 12 points between them coming because they didn't get their 6 points between them last game. So good luck with that, Colorado.
That's going to be an interesting thing to watch. So the Oilers are heading back to Edmonton, and they're pretty much in a must-win situation in Game 3. I mean, obviously, if you go down 3-0 in the series, there's been a few different comebacks. It doesn't happen very often. You don't want to go 3-0 down in the series. That much is obvious. And the Oilers are in an interesting situation because now they'll have the last change, so Jay Woodcroft can execute some different strategies. It'll be interesting to see because in games 1 and 2, the Oilers split up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl onto 2 separate lines. The hope was, okay, Colorado's strength is that they're a tremendously deep team up front. They have 3 forward lines that can score. We need to have these 2 MVPs split up, but splitting them up in this series, they haven't been as effective. So maybe we'll see Jay Woodcroft opt to load 1 line and see what happens. What do you guys think? Do you think the Oilers are better off just stacking 1 line and hoping they can go nuclear? That's what worked against the Flames, right? Like the Flames were supposed to be significantly deeper than the Oilers. And, what they wound up doing was just stacking the 1 line. And that's kind of how they killed them.
Yeah, I think the tough thing with the Flames is they don't have number 8 and number 7 on Colorado in Cale Makar and Devon Taves. So last night you saw Cale Makar skate backwards, stride for stride with McDavid so many times and push him off into the corner. So I think the thought behind splitting up McDavid and Draisaitl was you get them away from, at least one of them away from that matchup, which has been a very, very good elite defense pairing through this entire playoff. So, but then again, if you split them up, then you're taking away that magic and that dynamic duo. You saw it work against Calgary because Calgary didn't have their number 1 shutdown defenseman in Tanev, and the rest of them just couldn't handle McDavid. And that's why I'm sitting here on a Battle of Alberta Avalanche podcast when I am a Flames.
I like it though, because it's about the Oilers and the Avs, but it's also about the Flames, specifically the Flames sucking shit, which I'm all about.
And I just have to sit here and take it. So.
But you're still talking about the Flames in the playoffs, even though they're out.
I know. But yeah, go back. That's my point. Is I think that if you split those two guys up, then you avoid that 8-7 matchup against Colorado, because they just Cale Makar and Devon Toews just looked so good last night. Is that sustainable every single night? Probably not. No. But they just looked damn good last night.
Wanye, what do you think? Are we reuniting Connor and Leon? Or are we going to keep them split up? Is that going to be a game changer?
I think this isn't the case of shuffling the deck chairs in the Titanic. I think you play the hot hand. If somebody starts to see some chemistry, weld those two together till it no longer works, right? Do I think that the combined rage of Connor and Leon paired with the embarrassment of Smith getting 3 shots past him in a row, did I think that bodes well for Colorado winning game 3 and 4? I do not. I think the pressure is going to explode.
So you're firmly in the camp that you're still feeling good about the Oilers. They can come back into Edmonton and pop through game 3 and 4, even this thing up, and go back to Colorado. You're feeling pretty good still? You're not feeling anxious, are you?
Coombsy, let me tell you a story. One time the Oilers met the Flames, the 2022 Battle of Alberta. Do you remember? It's a while ago, but
Yeah,
maybe you'll remember. Printzy, maybe you'll remember. Yeah, you seem to have a lot of Calgary paraphernalia on your walls, but let me just walk you through what happened. The Oilers lost game 1, and everybody's like, uh-oh. And I was like, pfft. And then they won 4 straight. And all of Calgary's machinations and the Kachuk dancing in the crowd with Bud Lights in his pockets, all that shit went right out the window, because it turns out everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Now, in this instance, I will grant you the Oilers played their absolute worst game of the playoffs in game 2 against Colorado. But on a 4-round run, they're going to have a couple stinkers mixed in. We saw our first and only stinker. And I think that they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to win both games in Edmonton.
Interesting. Now, the next thing I want to bring up with you guys is we talked after game 1 that Mike Smith was going to come in and have an amazing game 2 because he was pretty bad in the first game. So game 1 against Colorado, Smith allows 6 goals on 25 shots, and he gets pulled like 6 minutes into the second period. He's always had a bad first game in these playoffs. He had his flub against the Kings, gave away game 1. He was terrible against the Flames, got pulled 7 minutes in. The Flames ended up winning that game 9-6. And then again, Colorado, he struggles. But the thing with the LA and Calgary series is Smith came back in game 2 and was fantastic in both those games. Smith in game 2 against Colorado was not necessarily fantastic. He allowed 4 goals all told on 40 shots. I don't think he's the reason the Oilers lost, given they didn't score a goal and you can't win the game 0-0. But now Smith has an .846 save percentage in two games against Colorado. There's some authentic worry that maybe the Avs have figured this guy out. They kind of realize Mike Smith likes to go down and they can shoot high. Maybe the Oilers might be better off in Edmonton going with Mikko Koskinen. Is that even a consideration?
We can't, Coom. We can't, buddy. We can't go backwards. We must look forwards. Even if forwards is right off a cliff, we got to look forward. This guy had 2 shutouts in the first round, didn't he? Second round? When the hell did Smith get all them shutouts? Anyways, doesn't matter. We have to play him. Mikko is got 1 foot in Switzerland.
Yes,
This is not the guy to. Then you're like, oh, we lost to the Avs. Why did we put our backup in? Why didn't we play with the guy who got us this far?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, was all of those goals last night awful? I mean, some of them weren't great. I mean, the funny one was the no glove one. I thought that one was pretty funny when Duncan Keith knocked off his glove and he was trying to grab it. And then McKinnon, he went blocker side, didn't even go glove side. He got it. Darnell Nurse, what did he get? He got an albatross in like 2 minutes there.
Now,
like,
if there's a guy not to play, sorry to interrupt you, Printzy. If there's
okay,
a guy not to play, it's bloody Darnell Nurse. He is enjoyed.
I watched the highlights this morning back to back. Like he was the causing, I would say 2 of the 3 goals he caused. The third one he maybe didn't defend against. Should Smitty have had some of those? Sure, but he got put in that position. So, but he
also made some big saves throughout the game.
He did, yeah, he did, man. Like, the Avalanche were humming. Like that could have been a 5-0, a 5-0 game without the without an
Colorado could have easily gone up in the first period, and Smith was quite good. They, it looked like it was going to be a neck and neck game there for a while, and all of a sudden it's just this onslaught. I'm not sure.
Would you actually sit Darnell Nurse though?
If he's hurt, yes.
Yeah, that was
that
my
penalty penalty shot. That breakaway, man. What the fuck was that? That's a guy who's hurt, who can barely even muscle a puck forward. I love Darnell Nurse. Yeah. He's a warrior, but
is he harming the team? Like, by being hurt?
Well, I think so. Yeah. He's like, what is he? -5, -6? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I think 7 actually.
Gee, 7. Shut up.
I
Is he
think
harming
so.
the team? You know he
Yeah.
is.
He's
So would you rather
clearly-
have Chris Russell in there blocking shots?
Yes,
or
all-time shot blocking
Yeah.
Chris Russell. I don't know why Chris Russell never really caught on in Edmonton as a fan favorite. If you told me we had a hard-nosed defenseman who broke an NHL record for shots blocked, I'd be like, that guy's beloved in Edmonton. I would guarantee it.
Yeah.
And yet here we are.
You'd think, right? So that's the other thing to consider for lineup changes. We talked about the potential of the McDavid-Draisaitl reunion. Now that they're back in Edmonton, also with the last change, we can consider the possibility of 11 forwards, 7 defensemen, because the fourth line for the Oilers ain't doing a hell of a lot. So it doesn't matter if you scratch someone on that line. Maybe the move might be for them to bring in, whether it's Russell, maybe it's the rookie Philip Broberg, go with 7 guys and have Nurse play less, and maybe he can be effective in 15 minutes of play. Maybe toss Brett Kulak on the top pair with Cody Ceci. I mean, Nurse was suspended in the LA series, and Kulak did, I think, incredibly well in the game that he missed playing on the top pairing. So that's always a possibility. But I think you're kind of insane if you expect Nurse with his injury to go out and play like 20 effective minutes. You're just asking for disaster at that point.
I don't think Nurse is bad. I just think Nurse is hurt. And I don't think Nurse has the warrior switch where you never take yourself out of the game. You play through everything. But we're playing through a -7 wind chill here, my friends.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I guess, suspensions, it's not really a suspension, but this just came down the pipe. I'm checking my phone. This is actually from Bag Milk. Zach Kassian has been fined $2,500 for ripping off Bo Byram's helmet from the bench last night. So Bag Milk made a funny tweet. So I guess he's got to make like 10 cameos to pay that off or something like that.
Shit. What are you doing, Zach Kassian? Good
How
God.
did Byram get a penalty out of that?
Wasn't he on the
Did
bench?
he?
No, Kassian was on the bench.
Yeah.
Right.
Bo Byram got knocked into the bench and Kassian ripped his helmet off from the bench. So then Byram gave him a shot back and they both got penalties.
Whenever a player goes on the bench, my mind automatically goes to that game in 2004 when the Oilers were playing the Atlanta Thrashers and Mike Bishai wound up in Atlanta's bench and fought like 6 different guys, and Atlanta had one of their goalies got injured and had to leave the game, and then their other goalie got into a fight and had to leave the game, so they played the last like 7 minutes
without
no
a goal.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I even remember that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember about the Atlanta Thrashers. That's the pinnacle of the franchise's existence. That's all I know about them.
My buddy was friends with Bishai, and Bishai, by all accounts, is a beaut. And he was just like, after the game, he's like, I'm a legend. He's like, that just happened. He's like, I fell in, but I fought. I'm a legend. Like, he knows he's a legend.
Like, here we are right now in 2022. It's been 18 years, and we're on an Edmonton Oilers / Calgary Flames / Colorado Avalanche.
There you go. Yep.
Podcast talking about the Atlanta Thrashers and Mike Bishai. So he definitely is a legend. Mike Bishai, if you're listening to this for some reason, you're right. You are a legend. Oilers legend Mike Bishai. I'm comfortable
Truthfully,
saying that. I'd put him on the 4th line in Game 3.
Bishai for sure. He still got it.
Mike Bishai, Brad Winchester, and Derek Ryan. Let's do it.
Oh my God, they're in big trouble in Colorado if we can reassemble that team.
Exactly. So, did we cover everything? What else do we want to talk about here?
Well,
Kind of a bit of a solemn day to talk about the Oilers. It's a little bit of a down.
I was fighting 5,000 people simultaneously on Twitter last night.
Yeah, how was the social media last night? I found it pretty negative.
Extraordinarily toxic.
It's
like
fun.
a fucking toxic waste enema was what Twitter was last night. It was burning on the inside and the outside as I was reading the tweets. Like, good God, there are some jerks out there that are just waiting to bitch. And even like, if you're down 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals after just taking out the Flames in 5, Printzy, in the Battle of Alberta, this is a good year, you negative shits.
I know. Yeah, I know. It is. And like, not to get too back on my team here, but
it is about the Flames, though.
It is true. It's true. This is a very valid point that probably applies to both the Flames and the Oilers here. So Flames GM Brad Treliving, and his post-season press conference said, made comparisons to the teams in Alberta to Washington, Tampa Bay, and now Colorado. These teams made the playoffs, got bounced in the first, got bounced in the first, got bounced in the second, bounced in the second. One of them made it through to the third, and then they eventually made it to the finals. So this is just the starting process for both of our teams here, if we can agree on that. that we're starting our playoff runs, that you're gonna make it to the second round and then get bounced. You're gonna get to the third round and get so close and then get bounced. But what you have to do is you need to repeat that playoff spot. You need to keep making the playoffs and keep grinding and keep getting there. So any Flames fans, yes, it fucking sucks that we lost the Oilers. You think your Twitter sucks? Mine is absolutely awful. We had our coach win coach of the year yesterday, and all the tweets were, "Oh, Woody should have won. It should have been Woody." Like, okay, wear a better fucking suit, Woody, and then you'll get some more votes.
Wait a year to get some NHL paychecks under his belt. Come on.
Exactly. So
he'll be Gucci'd out in 1 year.
My point being is, fans, relax. This is a good thing that has happened. Yes, it sucks that the Flames lost to the Oilers. Yes, it sucks that the Oilers might get bounced by Colorado in 4 or 5, but they've made it this far, and they need to sustain this year by year, and they will get to the point where, the Lightning are and the Avalanche are and the Caps were. It's part of the process.
Trust the process. Trust the process.
Trust the process, guys.
Yeah,
so
I don't.
Oiler fans on Twitter, relax. You're in the Western Conference Final. You're heading back. The Moss Pit is gonna be bumping. Rogers is gonna be flying. Like, come on. Have some fun with it, guys.
I wouldn't be sitting here complaining until the series is over. Like, at some point you have to take a step back and look at it and be like, all right, like, there's only ever going to be a few days in a year where we're enjoying the team being in the conference finals or whatever it is. Just sit back and, soak it in, enjoy it, and then we can get mad in July and August when nothing's happening. We can overthink the team. We can think about the roster decisions. We can think about what Ken Holland's done wrong, how old Duncan Keith is, how old Mike Smith is. That's fine. We have so much time to worry about that later. Just enjoy this now. It's fun. Go outside, have a drink, watch the game with your friends, your family. It's a good time. We wanted this for so long, and they're finally here, and people are just sitting here, instead of enjoying it, getting mad. It's not the way to live.
Amen, Coom. Well said.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
I think that's
You started a cult, I joined, just FYI. Keep it in mind. I'm not saying you have to start it right now, but just at some point, positivity, a death cult, they all go hand in hand.
Good vibes only. That's what we're all about here in the Battle of Alberta Banter.
GVO?
GVO. Good.
GVO, baby.
Good vibes only in the Battle of Alberta. Well, that's probably a good point for us to end off on, unless there's anything else you guys want to bring up and chat about.
No, I think this has been fantastic. We'll see you after a win in Game 3 by the mighty Oil.
That's right. So we'll be back. The game's on Saturday, so we'll be back on Sunday morning. Okay. Bright and early. All right.
Okay.
Take him to church.
Take him to church. Best wishes.